Welcome. My name is Alan Pito, and welcome to day one of the 14-day Buddhist planner for the COVID-19 pandemic. So the intention is of these videos and also the planner, which you can get at gum.co/Buddhist planner COVID, and I'll put that inside the description for the video and also on social media so you can get to it. It's a free planner you can that accompanies these videos. Is to help you navigate as a Buddhist through this current pandemic. As you've seen out there in the world, there's lots of confusion, fear, uncertainty, unease, suffering. This is all what the Buddha taught as well, and how we can go ahead and overcome that. So we're not talking about the medical or the physical side of it. We're talking about how we as humans, as sentient beings, how we interpret things, how we respond, how we act. So the Buddha talked about the Four Noble Truths after he was awakened and enlightened. And the fourth noble truth was called the Noble Eightfold Path. And that's the path away from, if you want to call it, quote unquote, suffering. So that is what we talk about in the first 8 days of this 14-day planner. So that's why we're starting with day one. We're going to talk about one of those. So you see I got Mara and right view right here. So when the Buddha meditated before he became the Buddha, he actually was in a battle with Mara. So Mara either is called an actual being, or it could just be, if you want to interpret it this way, part of your own mind, your own thinking. Mara gets fueled up on when we have uncertainty, fear, suffering, whatever. We're putting fuel on the fire. So Mara likes it when we put fuel on what I call the three fires. It's also called the three poisons. So basically that's like delusions, it's attachments, it's anger, hatred. These things are inside us that we fuel, and we don't have to. So the Buddha shows away from fueling those fires or those poisons inside of us, which Mara loves. So right now what you're kind of seeing in this world, what we call unskillful actions. Unskillful actions are what Mara wants and what Mara likes, because it just fuels these fires. So on day one, we're talking about right view. So right view is a perfect one to start off with in the Noble Eightfold Path. We have to understand what is this path that the Buddha put us onto that leads us away from this quote unquote suffering. So right view as a Buddhist means that we accept the teachings of the Buddha, the Dharma or Dhamma, and that's the right. That's the right truth that helps us lead us away from this. That we can go ahead and basically snuff out these fires. We don't have to put fuel on them. The Buddha showed us this when he was actually meditating and he battled Mara. Mara gave his like 3 beautiful daughters, tried to seduce him. Didn't work. He understood beyond just like physical beauty. Arrows at him. He turned him into flowers. So he was able not to battle in a conventional sense, but battle like, I understand what's actually going on, and it's not going to affect me because I understand the true nature of our world. So Mara, for lack of better terms, for our current predicament, is sort of our enemy, but we shouldn't think of them as an enemy. It's also because it's inside of us. This is how we're responding to things. So we just need to accept Mara, and then we got to go, but Mara doesn't have to have control over us, and actually kind of feel a little sympathy for Mara as well. So right view is understanding that things are a rise and fall, dependent origination, basically meaning, for example, like, I arose, I became a baby, grew up, whatever, but I'm also going to die. I'm going to decompose as well too. The COVID-19 pandemic arose as well, and it also will cease as well. So things are impermanent in our world. They do not last forever, and that includes this COVID-19 pandemic. Now, that doesn't mean it can't, flare back up again down the road, but it just means that it is impermanent, and it's also dependent on causes and conditions. That's also why you hear like, social distancing, stay-at-home orders and stuff like that. We're trying to ensure the causes and conditions of this continuing do not exist. So a lot of different factors play into dependent origination and also impermanence as well, but nothing lasts forever. So we have to understand through right view that our reactions, our speech, our actions, our thoughts, everything related to how we view things, how we view our world, shape our actions, speech, whatever. So we want to make sure that, because as soon as we have wrong view, Mara swoops right in, and that allows us to raise these fears, this uncertainty, whatever, and fuels those fires. Now, these fires, when we talk about nirvana or nibbana, is basically the cessation of those particular fires. They don't need to exist. They don't need to. And it seems a little scary, like, well, if they're gone, there is, happiness in Buddhism. That is, happiness. That's our true nature. Our true nature is not to be on fire, or the other term for this, three poisons, not to have poisons inside of us. That's conditioned and does not need to be. Now these unskillful actions we take, as you've probably seen, if you've been out to the stores, getting groceries or whatever the case might be, there's like toilet paper not there, maybe people fighting over different things. This is Mara at the best, at his best, arising these three fires, these fuel on there. Why I need to get that toilet paper, or I need to get this food, I need to store up, or this person, just cut me off in traffic, or whatever the case might be. We are just fueling us up instead of taking a second to go, is this me adding fuel to the fires? We're responding right away, which is what Mara wants. We're not mindful of what's actually going on. So another key point of these 14 days is mindfulness. Not mindfulness in the generic term, but mindfulness in the Buddhist term. So basically, we understand what's actually going on, and that's why we're being mindful. The Buddha was mindful every moment of his life. After he became the Buddha, he was aware of what was going on and did not react to what was going on in a wholesome or unwholesome way. He just reacted as it should be. So we want to make sure our actions are skillful during this time. We want to make sure that they are of wholesome karma, wholesome actions, of our speech, actions, etc. Now, we can do that because we understand the right view, we understand what's going on, but we still need the other parts, the Noble Eightfold Path, which we will also cover. But understanding, yes, the Buddhist teachings is our right way to follow. We understand that Mara, and you can take that as your own action, your own mind, is controlling or manipulating, is probably a better term for what's actually going on. And it allows you to fuel these fires inside you, which you don't want to actually happen, which causes you to do unskillful actions. So it's a bad combination that gets fueled by the actual circumstances of something like a pandemic. So understanding that this pandemic will end, it has to end, there's impermanence and there's causes and conditions, but also you have a direct impact on this as well too. That's why, once again, we have social distancing, we have the stay-at-home orders or quarantines, whatever. We're trying to reduce these causes and conditions that which make this go on longer. We don't want that to happen. We don't want this suffering to happen either. So one part of your practice is of course going to be meditation, and that's covered inside your planner. It also includes some basic tips for meditation. Now there's different types of meditation that you may follow in your Buddhist practice. It's not meant to cover everything, but meditate as well too, and we'll give you examples inside each day. But also, you're going to be talking about the 5 remembrances. You're going to recite these every day. And this is a great way to defeat Mara. So it's actually looking like, well, this is sad, I don't want to really think about this, but what you're actually doing is desensitizing yourself to Mara's power. So, for example, you're going to be, reciting every day, like, I understand that, I will age, I'll get old. I know that I will be of ill health, whether that's minor, major, maybe to the point where I die. And that goes to number 3, I realize I will die one day. And then 4, everything changes, impermanence in Buddhism, right? Nothing stays the same. And then also separation from loved ones or things that we like, but also things that we don't like as well too. So these 4 right here, Mara loves because it makes us do unskillful actions, because it feeds those 3 fires. So when you recite those and you do that and you understand what's actually going on, it loses its power to Mara, because what Mara actually does, it pushes it to the back of your brain. I know I'm going to die, I know I'm going to get sick, I know I'm going to get old, but I don't want to think about that, right? When we actually, not so much, I would say, focus on it in a negative way, but we focus on it, right? I gotta keep repeating this every day. It doesn't have that same power over me anymore. And these flames, they start going down, because now your view is actually a little bit different. You're seeing this right here as part of right view as well. Now the 5th one is actions. So your actions are your only possessions. This is what you take with you. Everything else is gone, but the actions are what stay with us and continue onward, but it's what we have direct control over. So Mara can try to manipulate us as much as we want to. If we allow Mara to manipulate us, unwholesome karma, unwholesome actions, right? That's our fault, or our own response to what Mara is trying to do. But just like we've seen with plenty of Buddhist practitioners, you can do wholesome karma. You realize what's going on and you won't let Mara manipulate you in that way. And you're like, you know what? I'm not going to lash out at this person. I'm not going to do harsh speech. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to do things like that. So our actions are our possessions. They're under our control. So think about that when you're actually out there, one last, pack of toilet paper on the shelf, someone takes it. How do you respond to that? How do you think? How do you view what's actually going on? That person can be fearful as well, too. We don't know all their circumstances. And because everybody's interconnected in our world and with Buddhism, that we have to understand that everyone's going through different challenges as well, too. We also do not know everything that's going on, and how they respond to us could be part of that fear, that suffering as well. So it's a transformation that takes place definitely over time in your practice, but it's definitely very beneficial. So reciting the 5 remembrances every day is almost like push-ups, if you will. It's helping you understand that Mara can't control you over this stuff when you deeply understand it as well. So make sure you download the planner. There's different practices inside there as well too. But this is not about you just doing this at home, just like you meditate at home, reciting these 5 remembrances at home. It's about you actually, if you're out in the world, for example, you have to get some groceries, or if you're an essential worker and you have to work, how do you respond? How do you interact? What happens if you lost your job or there's other circumstances, someone's sick? How we view what's going on in our world will make a big difference in how we respond, because remember, our actions are what we actually possess, what we control, but we don't want to do unskillful actions. We can always do skillful actions, wholesome karma. So thank you for joining me. Tomorrow we'll do day 2 and we'll go onward. So we're talking about 14 days right here, which is about the normal period of time most people do like a quarantine, but also these stay-at-home orders are going on like for a month or longer. So you can really start over again with day 1 and just keep practicing this over and over again. We'll have more things on social media that you can actually practice and do as well. Thank you very much.